Hi, this is Jim Ave, and we're going to go over our first rough draft for our professional portfolios for ATR 792A. So the documents that you'll need for this presentation are the syllabus, Appendix B in the syllabus, the professional portfolio template, and the PE professional portfolio example, and the BOC standards document, professional standards document. So you'll see on Appendix B the descriptions of this assignment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth between the example, the PE example, and the template. So for our first rough draft, you're going to write your introduction and the summary section. So let's go ahead and look at the, well, actually I want to go to the template. So I have a template here. I try to fix all the formatting stuff, so you pretty much can just use this template. You put your name there. You'll see that the different parts are going to change as we go through our portfolio. Your name, the date, my name, all that fun stuff. I have provided a table of contents. Now this table of contents is for the entire portfolio for this semester. So you'll need to, what I recommend is that you save this document as two different documents. One document is just a template, as is. So you always have the template. The second file is your running document of what you're doing for the class. Because when you turn in your first rough draft, you need to get rid of all the other parts of this table of contents and the rest of the material in this template that does not apply to what you're turning in, because you're not turning in an artifact section anywhere here. So you need to, or these other parts here, you need to remove all this material. The only thing that you'll turn in this week for the table of contents is the table of contents, introduction, whatever page that is, this part, wherever page that starts on, the executive summary, so these two executive summaries and the pages that they're on. The rest of this table of contents needs to go away. And then you'll start your, the reference page should still be there, and you probably won't have an appendix yet. And then you'll start your portfolio here, just exactly as it shows, professional portfolio. Then you're going to provide me an introduction on yourself. So let's take a look of an example of an introduction. So this is a PE student. The reason why I have a PE student, not a athletic training student, because I don't want you just to copy and paste somebody else's work. That'd be too tempting. And I don't want you to send and plagiarize. Okay, so here's an example of the table of contents for this section of portfolio. Here is an introduction for this particular student. The student provided the name, their degree, where they work, just a little bit of background about themselves and how you can get hold of them. I've taken out a lot of this stuff because I want to make sure that this student's identity is kept anonymous. So you'll write about yourself. Where'd you go to your undergraduate or your professional program? Where do you work now? Whatever you want to teach others about yourself, because you're introducing yourself to me and somebody else if they're going to read your portfolio. If you have a picture of yourself you want to include that. I'm happy to see that too. I do not grade the introduction. You'll see that in the syllabus or the rubric that I use to grade this assignment. I don't include the introduction and part of this. So this is just for me to know who you are. So you'll do that. And then let's go back to our template. Scroll down. You're going to write your executive summary for your first professional portfolio. So we have the BOC Code of Professional Responsibilities, and we have our BOC Practice Standards. So let's go over to this fun document here. So there are two standards. One is the BOC Standards of Professional Practice, and then there are the BOC Standards of Professional. Oh, sorry, I skipped something. Where'd it go? Codes of Professional Responsibility. Sorry about that. So in our first portfolio, you're going to do Practice Standard 1, which is direction. And then you're going to do Code 1, care of patient care responsibilities. So in our executive summary here, what you're going to do is you're going to provide a summary of the Code of Professional Responsibility, explain what that code means so that a non-athletic trainer can understand it. Now, what I don't want you to do, you'll see within the code here, there's code 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, blah, blah, all the way down to codes 1.7.1. I do not want you to explain each one of these subpoints. Read this entire thing, all these different points, and try to explain what patient care responsibility means so that the parent of one of your high school athletes can understand this person has no background in medicine, no background in athletic training. They're kind of clueless in this whole area of sports medicine, athletic training, the whole thing. So explain it in such a way that a non-athletic trainer can understand it. This should be about a paragraph, 2 paragraphs at the max. You should also support what you're writing by citing the code in this document here and other evidence or other research, other references to support what you're saying. But you still need to write it in such a way that a non-athletic trainer can understand it. So that's for your Code of Professional Responsibility. Then you'll do the same thing with your practice standards, which our practice standard is direction. What's it mean that the athletic trainer renders service or treatments under the direction or in collaboration with a physician in accordance with their training and state statutes, rules, and regulations? What does that mean in your state? If you're in a state that actually has state licensure, what is your state requirements for being under the supervision of a doctor or physician? Or if you're in a state like California where we currently do not have any kind of state licensure or regulations or anything, what does it mean? But again, you're trying to explain this to a non-athletic trainer who is totally clueless on what's it mean to be under the supervision of a physician. Again, no longer than a paragraph or 2 paragraphs should be the executive summary. So let's take a look at our PE example. I'm not going to read this to you, but since you're not PE teachers, you should have a good understanding what this Society of Health and Physical Educators, or SHAPE, Physical Education Standard 1 means by reading this summary. Again, you're not a PE teacher. You don't know what any of this stuff means. And so by reading these 2 paragraphs, you should have a fairly decent understanding on what that PE Standard 1 means. And that's the whole idea, is I'm trying to get you to explain these concepts that we have a really good understanding of because we live in them, so somebody else can understand them. And you notice in this executive summary, the student supports what he or she is writing by referring back to the SHAPE standards, quoting it or not quoting it. And I have a course announcements about what's the difference when you quote versus non-quote. But the student is supporting what they're writing by referring back to the standards, and that's what you should be doing. This is called evidence-based academics. Support what you write with references. And then if we go to the reference page, way down here, hopefully this doesn't make you sick, is, oh, I just noticed there's a mistake in the reference page, that they cited the reference page. And the thing that's wrong in this reference page is this should be in alphabetical order. It should be Johnson first, then whatever Pangrazi, then this society, then Smith. These should be placed in alphabetical order. Didn't notice that before. Bad, Jim. Okay, so that's what you're writing in our first week for our professional portfolio. You're going to eliminate all the extra material that I have provided in the template. You're going to turn in only your introduction and your executive summary for Code 1 and Standard 1. And then what I'll do is give you feedback in week 2, in the beginning of week 2. Then you'll write another rough draft on the artifacts, which you're not doing until week 2. If you need help, please ask. I'm here to help. Look at the examples that I provided and the example I provided, because that will help you too.